Hi everyone. Well, I'm Matias. I'm glad to be here and show you a bit of my wines and what we are doing and where we are doing. So today we are going to try 3 different wines, 2 from Mendoza, from our winery and from our terroir in Mendoza, and 1 of them from Patagonia, because we have 2 wineries in Argentina. Our main winery is in Mendoza, but also we are working in Patagonia, 1,000 kilometers from Mendoza, in a small project where I make wine from all vines there. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to explain a bit about all these wines and how we make it and where we make it. So this is our, where I stay right now, in Las Compuertas. Yeah. So we are located in Argentina. As you know, Argentina is a big country. It's a very large country. So it's the 2nd largest country in South America. So we can play with many different weathers, different altitudes, and also latitudes. So for that reason, I like to make different wines, and we have 2 projects in Argentina, in Mendoza and Patagonia, because we can get different things in different places. So this is where our wineries are located, in Mendoza, in Las Compuertas, which is a traditional area in Luján de Cuyo. It's the highest point of Luján de Cuyo, where we can get all vines and altitude, 2 things that normally doesn't have together, we don't have together these kind of things. And also in Patagonia, in the upper Rio Negro Valley, it's the northern Patagonia, here, northern Patagonia, another traditional place to make wine. People planted vines there since the 60s, end of 60s, beginning of 70s, mostly of them. So we are working 100% all vines in Patagonia. This is our winery in Mendoza, in Las Compuertas, which is a small winery. We are making 10 different lines right now, and more than 25 different wines. All of them in a small scale production. So we go from 10,000, 5,000 bottles, 3,000 bottles a year, mostly of them. So our philosophy is make wine from different places, different terroir, with different altitude, different soils, in a small scale. But today we are going to start with Blanco La Casa 2019, which is a white blend from 3 different grapes, from 3 different terroir, different places with different altitudes and different soils. So Blanco La Casa is 40% Semillon from La Consulta, south of Uco Valley, 40% Sauvignon Blanc from Gualtadari, from La Carrera, a new place that I love. I love the place. I think it has a lot of potential for whites. Sorry, from Gualtadari, 40% Sauvignon Blanc, and 20% from Chardonnay from La Carrera. I make a mistake because we have Sauvignon Blanc from Gualtadari, from La Carrera also. So it's 40% Semillon from La Consulta, 40% Sauvignon Blanc from Gualtadari, and 20% Chardonnay from La Carrera. Very cold places, different altitude, all of them in Valle de Uco. This is the map of Mendoza map. This is Valle de Uco, Uco Valley. And Uco Valley have 3 different regions, Tupungato, Tunuyán, and San Carlos. The different stars are where the vineyards are located. So the blue star is our vineyard located in La Carrera, which is the extreme north of Uco Valley. And if you can see, it's at 1,700 meters above sea level. It's one of the highest vineyard in Mendoza, and it's the highest vineyard in Uco Valley. And La Carrera is the coolest place in Uco Valley. So it's a new place. We are developing, we are the only winery that has a vineyard in production right now in this place. We are developing the area. In the future, we are developing more. We are going to plant more vineyards, and we are going to have a winery there. The yellow star is our vineyard located in Gualtazarí at 1,400 meters ADOS level. Different condition, calcareous soils, very typical in this place, very mineral wines, and I love the place. It's very, now it's quite popular and everybody wants to be there. It's really good for Chardonnay, really good for Malbec, and also we have a good Sauvignon Blanc, mineral and good acidity and good pH. And the other side, in the south of Uco Valley, we have in La Consulta and a small vineyard that we planted, that we found Semillon, all vines of Semillon. Semillon is quite traditional in Argentina, and La Consulta is another traditional place in Uco Valley where you can find all vines of Malbec and also Semillon. So I found this small vineyard in La Consulta, 60 years old vines at 1,050 meters ADOS level. And it's quite cold place. It's because it's in the extreme south of Uco Valley. So 40% from this place, from La Consulta Semillon at 1,050 meters ADOS level, 40% Sauvignon Blanc from Gualtazarí, calcareous soils at 1,400 meters ADOS level, and 20% Chardonnay from La Carrera, 1,700 meters. Here you can see the different geographic indication that we have in Uco Valley, and you can see that the names that I told you, I said before, no? La Carrera, extreme north, Gualtazarí, and La Consulta. And I want to show you because why we take these white grapes from these places. In this map, in this slice, you have the Winkler scale. What does mean that? Winkler give us an idea of how cold are the places, how the places, how is the places about the temperature. So you go from 1 to 5 in this Winkler scale. And normally our viticulture in terms of production in Uco Valley go through Winkler 3 to Winkler 4, warmer areas, here, these places. But I'm getting our grapes from colder places that we have Winkler 2 in La Consulta, Winkler 2 in Gualtazarí, and Winkler 1B in La Carrera, which is very, very cold. So we get a lot of good acidity, good pH, natural acidity, natural pH that give us the potential of aging in our wines and the energy in our white wines. I think Argentinian white wines has a lot of potential if we go up to the mountain and we can get this kind of temperatures where the ripeness goes so slow that we can keep the concentration and keep the natural acidity that in the lower areas we can't, because we lost a lot of energy and a lot of natural acidity. So people need to add tartaric acid to put, good acidity into the wines. In my case, we don't add anything in our wines. We don't add tartaric acid. It's just only natural acidity. And for me, it's one of the most important things if you want to do a good white wine. Here you can see how different the soils are in the 3 different places. So it's the soil profile of the 3 different vineyards that we have. The first one is La Consulta, where we have an alluvial soil, consisting mostly of sand, clay sand, 1 or 2 meter high, supported by the rocky subsoil. You see the first meter of loamy clay mixed with sand, and then a rocky subsoil. It's a very traditional soil in a traditional place where we have these old vines, because the people at the beginning planted, you know, in the bottom, in the feet of the Andes mountain. So in this altitude, 1,000 meters, we have this kind of profile soil. The soil of Gualtadari are very, very special. We have calcareous soils, and we have this 30, 20 centimeters, first 20, 30 centimeters of sandy soils, resulting from the wind erosion, supported by round granitic stones covered by calcium carbonate. You can see the white things, you know, it's a calcium carbonate that give us a lot of minerality into our wines. Concentration, minerality. And this vineyard is planted at 1,400 meters. So also the ripeness goes slow. So we can keep good acidity. So the Sauvignon Blanc from Gualtadari is a Sauvignon Blanc with a lot of minerality and good acidity. And yeah, and very austere. La Carrera, the last one, is very special place, and it's very special soil, because we are at 1,700 meters, and we have this kind of soils, loamy clay soils, but with abundance of organic material. That is very, very unusual in this altitude in the Uco Valley. So this soil is unique in the Uco Valley at this altitude. So we can have a good canopy in our vines, but the ripeness goes so slow that all the energy that we get from the grapes is incredible. So we have the balance that German has in the Moselle, you know. So we have 9, 10 TA, you know, tartaric acidity with 3.1 pH. Something very uncommon in Argentina, in Mendoza. La Carrera gives us that. So we blend all these 3 grapes, all these 3 soils, and we get a very complex and with a lot of energy and intensity and natural acidity in our blend. So again, La Consulta, Gualtadari, La Carrera, and we pick the grapes in different moments because they are located with different altitudes and different weather. So we start picking the grapes in Gualtadari, and then in La Consulta, our Semillon, and for the last 1 month later, our Chardonnay from La Carrera. And the fermentation is in concrete eggs. You can see here, I write for you in terms of indication. This is our concrete eggs, 1,000 liters concrete eggs, and we keep separate the must, the wine, for 8 months in these concrete eggs, and then after these 8 months, we blend it together, and we have the blend. So we use these concrete eggs. The fermentation is with wild yeast, and as I said, we don't add anything. Just only the place, the terroir, and the fermentation. If you try the wine, you can see this is the wine, Blanco de la Casa, Blanco de la Casa Riccitelli, no? House white, Riccitelli house white. And you will see, if you try, you will see the minerality, the complexity of the 3 grapes. It's not just only, it's not that you are trying Sauvignon Blanc or you get some Sauvignon Blanc, Semillon, or Chardonnay. It's one thing, you know. The Semillon gives us the mouth, you know, the good feeling in the mouth. The Sauvignon Blanc gives us the minerality and the austerity. and the Chardonnay, the energy, the good natural acidity and this energy that we get from La Carrera. We keep the wine for 8 months in the concrete eggs, and then we put into the bottles and we release them to the market after 3 months after bottling. Good. The second wine is our Semillon from Patagonia, 2019. It's our fourth vintage in Patagonia, making this Semillon, this beautiful Semillon. I think if to make a really good Semillon, you need to go to Patagonia. And lucky, we lost a lot of hectare in Patagonia of Semillon. The reason that I went to Patagonia was that, to try to keep our heritage, these old vines, this low yielding that we get naturally from there. So this is the place that we are working, where we are working in Patagonia. It's the upper Rio Negro Valley. It's about 1,000 kilometers from Mendoza. It's the northern Patagonia, the traditional places. For that reason, we can get all vines in there. You can see here the place, and it's near to the Rio Negro river, and it's a place located in the 39 parallel, and give us a good ripeness, but very slow also. And we work with all vines, so we get low yieldings, very concentrate grapes, and good acidity also. So our Semillon coming from grapes planted from vines planted at the end of the 60s. So we have 50 years old vines, more or less. They are ungrafted. And we have two different places where we get the grapes. One of them is Allen, and the other one is Ingeniero Huergo. Two traditional places in Rio Negro, in the province. As I told you, we get low yieldings, natural low yieldings. We work in a natural way in our vineyards. We don't add anything, any pesticide, any herbicide in our vineyards. So it's very, very natural way to manage the vineyards. We just only pruning and do some green works, and that's it. And we pick the grapes very early, at the end of February. We pick the grapes and we get all the concentration, because we don't get more than 4,000, 5,000 kilos per hectare, and good acidity, natural acidity. The fermentation in this case, I want to do very classic fermentation. So we do a fermentation in oak foudres of 2,000 liters with wild yeast also. And then we keep the wine for 8 months in this oak foudres, and after we do the bottling, and we release to the market after 3 months also. You can see here the small bunches that we have of Semillon, very concentrate, very the vines are very poor. I found it abandoned this vineyard, and now I'm trying to recover the vineyard, but I want to keep the balance, the natural balance that we have. I want to keep this, low canopy and low vigor. And as I told you, we don't have more. We lost a lot of hectare in Argentina of Semillon, because in the past nobody cared about Semillon. Nobody wanted to make wine Semillon as a wine, as a single varietal. So we lost a lot of hectare, and we have less than 40 hectares in Rio Negro. So we are managing 5 of these 40 hectares, and mostly of these 40 hectares are nearly abandoned. So my idea and when I went to Rio Negro was keep this heritage, keep Semillon, this vineyard of Semillon alive. and try to get a very special, you know, wine from this special place. This is our oak foodrest, that similar than that we have in Patagonia. We are working with 2,000 liters, more or less. So we age the wine for 8 months there, and then we bottle the wine unfiltered. So you will see a bit cloudy the wine because we don't filter the wine. The wine is quite special. It's very classic, lot of energy and intensity, complexity from the oak, but the oak is so well integrated. You don't feel the oak into the wine, but give you complexity, a good volume in the mouth, good acidity, and it's a wine that you can keep for many years, and I think it's going to be better with the pass of the year. This is the label. And we only make 3,000, 4,000 bottles a year. It's very small scale production. Good. The last one is Tinto La Casa, 2018. And Tinto La Casa, we work with 2 different regions. 2 regions that I love. Traditional place, like where we are located in the winery is located, Las Compuertas, and 50% from Gualtadari, from Nuco Valley. So we mix loamy clay soils, traditional places, old vines, and calcareous soils, young vines, altitude from Gualtadari. So you see the Mendoza map. The yellow star is where Las Compuertas is located. And you can see here, this is the picture that we took from the plane. And you can see where Las Compuertas is. It's the highest point of Luján de Cuyo. All of this map is Luján de Cuyo. Traditional place, very classic for Malbec. All of this Vistalba, Luján, Lulunta, Pedriel, Agrelo are very famous for Malbec and very, traditional. Las Compuertas is the highest point. So we are located at 1,100 meters at sea level. So we have altitude and also all vines. Something, two things that I like and really like, and very uncommon things together. Again, the same map that you can see. Las Compuertas is near to Mendoza River. The blue line is the Mendoza River, and it's near also to the mountains, to the La Precordillera. So our soils, we have loamy clay soils, a meter of loamy clay soil, but then we have a rocky subsoil that give us the opportunity to drainage the water, so we can concentrate the wine. Because in all these places, we are using the traditional irrigation system, which is by flow. You can see here the soil profile of Las Compuertas. It's a beautiful soil for Malbec. You can see this is a meter of loamy clay, and then we have this rocky subsoil. So it's a loamy clay, 1 meter high, supported by an underground of gravel and rolling stone that sometimes in some point of our vineyards, these rocks, these rolling stones appear in the surface. So this kind of soils has a good permeability, and the roots scratch the stones and reach high, deep in the soil. So go 2 meters, 3 meters, 4 meters deep to the soils. Here we have average 80 to 100 years old vines in this place, in Las Compuertas. It's one of the most important places for Malbec. And I want to say I want to say that Argentina has a lot of hectares of old vines. It's something very special in our country. You know, we have more than 3,700 hectares of very old vines, more than 80, 90, 100 years old vines, ungrafted. Something very special. No, if you know that Europe doesn't have any old vines, you know, and we have more than 3,700 hectares of old vines ungrafted, located in really good places. And more than 40 years old vines, 56,000 hectares. So we can work with these old vines. We can show the balance that we have in the old vines, and all of them are ungrafted. The other 50%, we were speaking about Las Compuertas. Now we are going to speak about the other 50% that came from Gualtadari. It's the Red Star. This is where we have our vineyard at 1,400 meters, where we have a very special soils, these calcareous soils. This is the soil profile of our vineyard. I really like this kind of soil because the wines that we get from here are very special. We get a lot of concentration, really good tannins, chalt tannins, but also minerality and spiciness. So if we mix Las Compuertas from these loamy clay soils that give us balance, give us soft tannins and red fruit, if we mix it with this kind of soils where we have chalk tannins, minerality, concentration, but also spiciness, it's a beautiful wine. So I try to do that when we make Tinto La Casa. So the fermentation that we do in Tinto La Casa is in oak vats, in these oak vats of 1,000 kilos. We are using a whole bunch fermentation, 50% of whole bunch in our fermentation, and we crush it the bunches that you can see in the picture, because we don't want carbonic maceration, but we want the fermentation, this whole bunch fermentation that give us character and spiciness also. So we co-ferment the grapes. We pick the grapes in the same days, the grape from Gualtadari and the grape from Las Compuertas in the same days. Two things that doesn't have the same ripeness point. So we pick the grapes normally first in Gualtadari, and then in the same day we pick in Las Compuertas. And we mix the grapes and we co-ferment the grapes, 50% whole bunch, and we crush it like this. And then fermentation is in this oak vat, and we age the wine in the same oak vats, because those oak vats, we can close all of them, and we can keep the wine for 12 months until the next vintage, the wine there. So we can age the wine in oak, but without any oak flavors into our wines. But we get the complexity from the oak aging. So you will get a wine with spiciness, but also with red fruit, good tannins, lot of intensity, and also natural acidity, because we pick the grapes very early in some points in some vineyard. So we are trying to play in that way in Tinto La Casa. Tinto La Casa and Blanco La Casa, I think, represent our philosophy of wine. We have higher end wine from there, and we have also more easier wines from there. But Tinto La Casa represent how the wines that I like, the wines that has a lot of intensity, good natural acidity, and the oak flavors well integrated. So this is the wine. It's very you get everything here. You get good maturity, but also, you know, the spiciness and the greenness part of the Malbec that you can when you pick earlier the grapes. So this is my presentation. I don't know. Hope you understand and you enjoy it. And yeah, so this is some of our wines. We have more we have like 25 more wines to show you the different terroir that we have and how the different are in Argentina. You know, Argentina is a beautiful country to make wine. And you can make many different things. You can make a Malbec and also Pinot Noir, Sauvignon Blanc, whatever you want, if you know and if you find the correct place. So yes, if you have some question, I will be happy to answer.
Thank you, Matías. That was really, really interesting. Thank you. We have a couple of questions from the people watching. First one, how long do you think your old vine Semillon can age for?
This is our fourth vintage. So I do every year. I do a vertical tasting, you know, and it's still very young. The first one is quite young. This is 2015. So I hope that we can keep the wine for 10 years at least. And every year that pass, I try to get better the wine, pick in the correct day, do the correct work in our vineyards, and have the correct yield. You know, so every year I'm trying to get the best wine. So I think this 2019 you can keep for more than 10 years, definitely. I don't hear you.
I'm muted.
Yeah.
Sorry. Why do you choose concrete eggs as opposed to oak barrels for some of your wines?
Yeah, we don't want to add any oak flavors in this in Blanco La Casa, and the concrete eggs give us the possibility to have micro oxygenation without any adding any flavors into the wine, and also work with the yeast. So concrete eggs give us, you know, this natural movement of the yeast that we can get, you know, a good mouth, good structure, and yeah, for that reason.
Have you experimented with Malbec in concrete eggs?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I like it. I really like it. But I feel that I really like more for whites than for reds.
Yeah.
For me, give me more. I can. I have more feeling when I make white wines in concrete eggs, in small concrete eggs, because the eggs that we are using are 1,000 liters, are very small. So this natural movement are even better than the big ones. So I prefer using for white. But also we have, I can show you later, because I am the winery, we have bigger ones for red also.
Yeah. Do you own all of your vineyards?
This is Phil Crozier.
It is, yeah.
I feel. Hope you are well. No. We have we have our own vineyards in Mendoza, and also a small vineyard in Patagonia that I bought last year. But we work with 3 different methods. We have our own vineyards. We rent a lot of mostly of hectares, where we work like like our own vineyards, and also we buy grapes every year. But normally we have 20% own vineyards, 60% we rent it, and 20% we buy grapes. But we work with the same producer since I started. I started more than 11 years ago. So I keep the same producers every year, and yeah, so, and we work together, you know. So I can buy everything, you know. I can buy all the vineyards that I like it. So I work with in many places. So I when I like one place, I try to first I buy the grape, I buy the grapes, and if I like it, I try to rent the place. And if I have money, I try to buy it. But normally I don't have a lot of money. That the money that I want to get have.
3-step process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another question from Phil. He's, with regards to the Semillon, are you picking the grapes earlier this year?
Yeah, this year, you said 2020 was a very warm year. So we pick earlier all of our grapes. We have more or less 20 days earlier than the last year. 2019 was a really good year. Was cold and dry, something very good. You know, if you combine cold and dry, it's beautiful because we have healthy grapes and good acidity and good aromas. You know, 2020 was very warm. Was a classic year, warm. So we have 20 days. We pick the grapes 20 days earlier than 2019. Yeah, so it's a work that you have to do in the vineyard, you know, and every week go and try the grapes, and when it are ready. Yeah.
Is it difficult to sell varieties other than Malbec?
Not really, no, not really. Local market is very important for us. Today is a disaster because the COVID, but local market is huge in Argentina. So Argentinian people love wine, so they want to try different things. Yeah. So after Malbec in the world, we need to work more. You know, we need to show the quality, show where we get the grape, the special places that we have, and it's more difficult than Malbec, but it's not too difficult. We have 10 different whites in our winery. Every year we sell all of our wines. Yeah. It's more difficult, yes, but it's not too difficult. People, in my case, I don't know, maybe in general, yes, but in my case, we are selling very well our other grapes.
Good. Are you experimenting with any other grapes?
As much as I can, you know. We have many different wines, and I'm making from. Well, I have 10 different whites, and yeah, I make Pinot Gris, Sauvignon Blanc, Semillon, Chardonnay, of course, Pedro Jimenez from Patagonia. What more? I don't know, I forget. Yeah. And then for reds, Pinot Noir, Trousseau, Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon, Bonarda, Syrah, what more? Many of them. Yeah, a lot. You know, of course, 50% of our production is Malbec, but the other 50% is other grapes. So yeah, we are working with a lot of grapes. The thing that you have to be in your mind that Malbec is a good opportunity for us, because Malbec, you can make a really good Malbec in many different places, but you cannot You cannot make a really good Pinot Noir in a lot of places. So if you want to make a Pinot Noir, a good Pinot Noir, you need to choose the correct place, you know. The same with Sauvignon Blanc, the same with other grapes. It's not in many different places. It's just only in a small spot with some altitude with the correct soil. So this is my play. You know, I'm playing in that way. You know, I'm trying to find good places for different grapes. I don't want to make a Pinot Noir in the Compuertas because it's a disaster. You know, I want to make a Malbec in las Compuertas, but I want to make a Sauvignon Blanc or Pinot Noir in La Carrera, which is a beautiful place. And I think you will hear about La Carrera in the future because I think it has a lot of potential.
Okay.
And the same with other grapes.
How important is Torrontés to Argentina and winemaking?
It's huge. Torrontés is our local grape, white grape. Huge volumes. I really like Torrontés. I love Torrontés. The big wineries make a beautiful, cheap, good quality, you know, price of Torrontés. But also you can make good Torrontés. We are making Torrontés. I was born in Cafayate, north of Argentina, where Torrontés is the king, you know, it's the place of Torrontés, you know, in Cafayate. But I make Torrontés in Patagonia, you know, the opposite. I make it in Mendoza and Patagonia, but the Torrontés in Patagonia is incredible. I started to make it last year, and I love it. It's completely different. You know, it has more spiciness, white pepper, citrus character than the Torrontés from Cafayate or even from Mendoza. So depending where you are, you get different things. So I want to show that, you know. But Torrontés you can make easy drinking, good quality, and also complex, very gastronomic Torrontés. Yeah, but huge. We love Torrontés. I love Torrontés.
Good.
All of them.
All of them, north and south.
Yeah.
For the future of Argentina and the wine in Argentina, which grape varieties do you think have the most potential?
We have a lot of potential for many grapes, but in terms of quantity, in terms of volume, in general, of course, Malbec, yes, but also Cabernet Franc. You can make Cabernet Franc in many different places, really good. Depend what you want, which kind of profile you want of Cabernet Franc, you can make it. So Cabernet Franc, I think, is one of the after Malbec, one of the best grape that we have. Bonarda also is really good, but I prefer Cabernet Franc. But that is in terms of volume, in terms of general, you know.
Yeah.
But if you know the place, if you choose the correct place, you can make a really good wine, Sauvignon Blanc. We are making Sauvignon Blanc again, you know, in La Carrera, but depend where you are, depend the grape, the place, you can have a good wine. It's not just only one or two grapes. We have many opportunities to make good wines. In terms of volume, Malbec, of course, and Cabernet Franc, I think.
Yeah. And outside of Argentina, are there any regions, styles, wines that you particularly like?
I was very influenced by the Spanish new, producers. I really like Spain because I speak Spanish, so it's more easy for me. And I really love the wines that the young winemakers are doing right now in Spain. So I spent my last 4 years traveling around Spain, meeting people and discovering new places, new wineries. And yeah, so I really like Spain, the new way of Spain.
Perfect. And that's a wrap. That's all we've got time for tonight. Thank you very much, Matías. It's been very interesting. Very interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, cheers.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for being there.